Welcome to Don't Feed After Midnight. I'm Steve.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to talk about a lot of shit.
Tons of it.
Tons of poops. All of the poops for all of the people.
Big duties.
Big duties. Alright, so we got a couple things to cover. We never really covered the Solo movie. Like, I think we talked about it
A bunch of times.
but we never actually covered it.
And we've individually talked about how we felt about the movie as a whole, but it's never something we sat down and recorded.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't hate the movie. It was a little lackluster, I think, in a weird way. I think I liked it because it was Star Wars.
I liked it because it was Star Wars. It was
It's hard, isn't it?
It's hard to review when it's exactly what you expect it to be.
Exactly. And
it didn't deviate from my expectations ever.
The problem with us too is that, like, we're big fans of Star Wars. So, I mean, realistically, they could have a Star Wars movie based on the guy who, like, polishes Darth Vader's helmet, and we'd be like, oh,
you give.
I watch all of that. Give miniseries, please.
Miniseries trilogy.
We don't use proper English. We just yell.
Just give me episode 4 through 6 of just that guy. Like every time Vader leaves a battle, he gets pissed. He's like, "This motherfucker!
You dirty, dirty bitch!
You didn't have to touch down on Endor. You know they love shit.
You went to the ice planet of Hoth."
You've bastard.
You've been to Tatooine, all the sand.
Fuck.
You went to the Hutt planet, which is basically just shit.
Right, he's just
literally feces everywhere. Oh man,
it would be funny.
It would be fun. Like I think that's part of the reason I enjoyed Rogue One so much is because, I mean, I didn't care about that story. I mean, yeah, it was an interesting take on a little blurb from
they took like the one line of text and turned it into a 2.5 hour movie. That was awesome.
And it was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I think
I liked it more than most episodes.
Yeah, I know.
As painful as that is to say.
But honestly, think about it this way. If Vader hadn't been in it and they hadn't done that scene at the end, would you have liked it as much?
It was shock value of like, holy shit.
I would not have liked the movie.
This is the coolest thing. I loved it though, because it played into things that Star Wars never plays into. Like people that have some sort of Force sensibility, but they don't stray to one side or the other of the Force. Like the Guardians of the Whills, they don't give a fuck if you're a Jedi or a Sith. They think the Force is what's right. Like, the dude was fucking blind, and he used his faith in the Force to survive a hail of laser fire from fucking...
Yeah, it was a little... I mean,
the Black Ops squad.
I mean, that was like... I was like, really, really...
It was the Force.
It was the Force.
It was. That's what... Han Solo said that's not how it works. But that is how it works.
I know. The Stormtroopers... The thing is, the Stormtroopers are not that bad of a shot. They're bad.
Well, no, those ones in specific are supposed to be the biggest, like, basically Black Ops death squad of all the Stormtroopers. But a little bit of faith in the Force, and he basically has the ability to throw off their aim.
That was weird.
It was a good lesson to teach as far as Star Wars goes. They don't dive into stuff like that ever.
Yeah, we're recording in the hotel room, by the way, so that background noise is Mike laying under a blanket like a baby because he's cold.
Cozy.
That's ridiculous.
It's 40 degrees in here.
I know. We do set the room temperature super, super, super
it's so cold.
I set it at 65. You sleep better that way. Whatchamacallit. For those who don't know, by the way, I should reiterate, Mike and I work together, so we travel together, so we're not shacking up in a hotel room for fun and games.
And we're not in sleeping bags or nothing. No, we're not popping tents up. Oh my god.
We both agree that Solo was fun to watch.
It was a good movie.
And the thing is, there were parts of it, honestly, that I did not like. Some of the casting I thought was off. I did not fucking like what's his name from Cheers as the old smuggler that teaches Han Solo the ways. What's his name?
Woody Harrelson. I liked him. I just thought he was a little generic for a...
He plays Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
In every fucking movie. And that's all he was.
That's all he is.
He didn't put on an accent.
That's all he is.
He didn't try to change it, but he didn't change his mannerisms.
He was himself from like Zombieland.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just, like, he put on a smuggler's outfit for Star Wars.
And this
like,
is the thing. Like, he doesn't... when Woody Harrelson acts, he doesn't put on an air of being someone else. He's just Woody Harrelson.
I mean, it's worked for him for so long that he's gotten comfortable doing it, though.
But it pulled me out of the movie, because every time that motherfucker opened his mouth, I was like, hey, I remember he was on Cheers.
Hey,
and,
Woody Harrelson.
It sucked when Coach died.
White dudes don't jump. That's why he didn't jump the whole movie.
God, it's so bad. It was so bad. But, I did like Khaleesi was in it. I did like her.
She was good.
Oh my God. I always call her Khaleesi because I forget names.
She was good. Donald Glover was good.
He was amazing.
He
Donald
was really good
awesome.
as Lando.
I want to have his babies.
When I seriously, I would.
He's so good.
He was really good though. When I first heard his voice, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like he really channeled Billy D in some parts of that movie. Like, even the guy that played Han, like even if his face doesn't convince you or anything, as it shouldn't, because he's not fucking Harrison Ford. There were moments where I was like, "Damn, that's a really Han moment."
Yeah, he did pretty good.
And I fully predicted the Han shoots first scene. I fully predicted that because I was like, "There's no way they're gonna do a Han Solo movie and not say fuck you, George Lucas."
Yep.
Han shoots first because it was too big of an opportunity. There was really odd cameos too, like the guy that's Ron Howard's brother.
Oh, him.
He was
He's so awkward looking and strange.
He's gross looking too. He's got fucked up teeth and shit. He was in not Happy Gilmore, Waterboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been in lots of stuff where he played a monster. Or like it's an oddball. It's part of his character, like Woody Harrelson is Woody Harrelson.
He just popped up for a second. I was like, what the hell is he doing in this movie? But I thought it was a fun movie. I didn't really... You couldn't really go to this movie and take it as serious as like a major episode. You just got to take it as a for fun. We're gonna fill in the gaps for people that didn't have it spelled out for them. Like everybody that watches 4 through 6 knows that Han did the Kessel Run in however many parsecs, and it was the fastest it's ever been done because he cut corners. That we knew that.
Yeah.
Like we knew he freed Chewie from the books.
Yeah.
And things like that. They didn't really touch on it in the movies, really. I mean,
I don't even know when the first inkling of that was. If it was a strategy guide or
it might have been
in one of those non-canon original books or something like that.
But it was something that like you really only knew the full story of it if you read the full story of it. So it was like they never touched on it in the movies. It was like Han and Chewie are just bros. Like But this movie just confirmed the timeline of it. It was
nice how they did it too.
Yeah. It was all in an order that made sense.
He liberated him. They had always said he liberated him from a slave camp or something like that. But
yeah, well, and it technically was, but it was different from how they portrayed it in the comics. Because in the comics, it was like they tried to say it was like Kashyyyk, and it was they were basically in cages of like 20 Wookiees, and Chewie was among them. And Han saved him and shit. And it's like, alright, why did he pick Chewie out of all of them? It just didn't really give the full explanation. But in this, it's like he was used for, like he was trapped in a pit cage. Yeah. And it was on a planet where it was like just nothing but nasty sulfur and dirt and shit. And it kind of tied together well. But I feel like the highlights of the movie mostly revolved around his interactions with Lando, his interactions with the girl, Kira.
Emilia Clarke, who stole the fucking movie.
She was great.
Every scene she was in, she stole.
She was beautiful, too. What's his name? Vision. Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
He was really good as like a... Like, I didn't expect him to be as good as he was.
No, he was really good.
And then the Darth Maul appearance at the end was like...
That was cool.
I loved it because of what I know from Clone Wars. Because they led into all these concepts of Maul doing like gangster shit after a certain point. Because Clone Wars showed he was like getting back into the Sith life, and it was like he lost his brother to it. And
so they linked that to the Clone Wars a little bit, didn't they? Big time, with him having mechanical bombs.
He had the mechanical legs back, so he wasn't cut in half like in Episode 1. A lot of old people that just gave up on Star Wars were confused by that, because they were like, didn't that fucker die in the first one? No, because the fans that paid attention know that he survived because this and this.
Yeah.
And it's like, a lot of people are like, what the fuck?
Well, he just got lopped in half.
I mean, that's. I mean, he wasn't human. He was he's from Dathomir.
Yeah. But even then, he's not. He was raised on Dathomir, but he's not from Dathomir, wasn't right? Or no, yeah,
he's a Dobrak or something. I think that's what they call him, or a Daybrak or something. But it's racist. I didn't say it. George Lucas did. Nah. I'd blame him for all racist shit.
Oh my god, it's horrible, isn't it?
He's fucked up.
The Asian guys,
the Middle Eastern.
Oh my god,
the Tusken Raiders are just a bunch of ISIS people.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
But no, I thought it was a really fun movie. It has its flaws, but if you don't take it too serious, it's not a bad movie.
That's the thing. A lot of people, with Star Wars and things like that. They like Spider-Man and things like. They get so into like the mythos of it. It means so much for them growing up, right? That they expect every movie to be a complete masterpiece, and it's not always going to be that way.
It shouldn't be.
Episode 1 was a pile of shit.
Oh yeah, it and like every Star Wars movie, it has its one or two highlights, and I'm guaranteed.
And I'm not saying like I hate it. I'm saying like you compare Episode 1
to every other one
to Jedi. Not only the quality of the acting, obviously the special effects and stuff like that, and people will be like, well, yeah, but they were developing stuff and this, that, and the other. It's like, honestly, those people were professional actors.
What's funny is, beyond the acting. But if you look at, it's kind of weird because at the time the CGI was like way ahead of its time.
Oh god, yeah.
So Lucas was like, "Fucking go all in on that shit," because he was like, "We got all this money from 4 through 6 and all the toys and shit that we can just do whatever the fuck we want." So he was scanning people before it was even a thing. Like,
yeah, I mean the guy's innovative, and the thing is,
but
he's not a terrible writer. I
feel like his directing ability is just.
I think what happened with the prequels, and people can feel free to disagree with me on this.
Yeah.
I think he had a lot of yes men around him that were excited to be working with the George Lucas, and no one looked at him and said, "George, you really can't have all these guys that look like Asians talking like Asians. You can't have all the banking guild people be like Jewish people.
Right?
It's really not cool.
You can't have an entire race of Africans." That look like fish.
Oh my god!
It's just not cool, bro.
It was not. I don't know. It just didn't make sense.
It was just funny.
And it was because the man is like extreme. He was extremely wealthy. He was very isolated.
Yeah.
That's part of the thing too. Is people that like directors that get that way. I mean, Hollywood elite that get that way. You put a microphone in front of them, and you ask them a question that anybody else would be like, "What? No, it's a stupid idea." What would you? They go. Well, that actually sounds kind of reasonable. Yeah, why don't we put all the Japanese people in internment camps? That makes sense. I mean, just to be safe, right?
That makes sense.
It's because they're stupid.
He's one of them dudes.
And there's nobody around him. I'm not saying George Lucas, by the way. Anyone it would encourage people to be put in internment camps. I'm just saying,
but it's along them lines, like the way he did the whole process for 1 through 3.
There's nobody there to say, please, stop, George. You can't do that. And I think that's part of the problem with that original, the prequels, I should say.
Yeah.
And
because with the original, it was all his original vision.
But he had a long time to work on that, didn't he? Didn't he work on that for
he worked on the original one for the episode 4, like, for a really long time. But then, like, by that time, he was already thinking up a sequel. And then he did 5, and then he thought of the sequel for the next one. Harrison Ford didn't want to come back for that one, but then he was like, you know what? All right, fine. And then they did 6. And honestly, out of the 3, 6 is my favorite. I love Empire, but 6 is my favorite.
I like the first part of Empire. The Battle of Hoth is amazing.
I love the first part of Empire. I feel like it just gets a little too slow for my taste in the middle, and then a bit towards the end, but not when. Like once you get the Vader fight, it's incredible.
Well, I'm an extreme technophile, so I love like all the ion cannons and AT-ATs.
I just thought the worm part was kind of in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, it was a little dead zone. They could have just had him hide and then escape and then go on and done more with Vader and Luke at the end.
But I feel like 6, starting off with the whole heist on Jabba's palace, was incredible.
It was pretty cool.
And Slave Leia, I don't even gotta say anything.
That poor Carrie Fisher.
Right.
She that costume didn't bend because it was metal. So she kept saying, she was like, she goes, I realized halfway through the second day of shooting that any cameraman over top of me was getting a full view down my crotch because that crotch piece didn't bend at all. Yeah. So while I was standing, it was form-fitting, but when I sat down, it was just like, woohoo,
And not only that, the cloth was like legit, like just a flap hanging over.
Yeah.
So like Mark Hamill was seeing it like all day, every day while they were filming those scenes.
Ridiculous.
And they were like best friends at the time. So it's like he's just stuck watching it, and it's like she can't put on underwear because you need to see that there's nothing there. I mean, they could have put a patch or something. Like
maybe they did. Who knows?
Well, they were pretty convincing that she's she's flashing everybody on set.
That's true. She did say that.
And
that was the other thing about the newer movies, like Solo. The costumes in Solo, I'd say, was
I liked a lot of
pretty cool.
I liked a lot of them. I like Kira's outfits the most, not just because it's Amelia Clark, but
yeah, she wore rags.
She wore really cool things though. Like I like the like that jacket she wore when they went to Kessel. The white jacket with the like the scarf and all that shit on. Like she looked cool. And then like even when she was wearing the all black like dress at the end with the like it was like dress with pants, and she fought Paul Bettany wearing it, and she was like sliding around the floor and shit.
Yeah.
She looked sweet.
The smuggler outfits were cool, and
Lando looked cool.
There was the costumes were the practical effects were cool. I think they used more CGI in that. There
was a bit more
than they did, of course, in the Star Wars movies. I don't think there was quite as much.
Yeah, I'd like to see the DVD, the Blu-ray behind the scenes to see what they did that was practical, because it felt like a lot of it was graphics.
Hey, this is Paul Ritchie, and you're listening to Don't Feed After Midnight. But the rules don't apply to me. Feed me anytime.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to turn this microphone around here. We recorded the first part with the mic facing one direction, and I realized we switched the batteries out there, and I turned it a different direction, so it might sound a little weird for a while there. Sorry. The magic of recording things.
Movie magic.
Podcast magic. There's no magic.
Audio magic.
We're laying in beds separated by 4 feet of space in Hampton and Cincinnati.
Very little magic.
The practical effects I really dig. But
that's why I feel like a lot of people give the prequels shit for the effects they used, but a lot of people don't realize that there's so much practical effect to a lot of the prequel. There's actually more practical effects in episode 2, I think they said, than the entire original trilogy combined. Like there's that much practical effect. The entire Geonosis arena was a big practical effect, as crazy as that sounds. They made a miniature and then applied it to a stage. Like it was crazy. They took full video of a miniature and then and they built that arena. The only thing that was really fake was like the background Geonosians. That was it. Everything else, like these people are on just a sand and pillar set with video playing of a practical built thing, and it's crazy. Even the episode 1, the pod racing arena, when it shows that zoom around, that was just a massive miniature, and even the people in the crowd weren't CGI. They were, I think they said they took different color bendy straws, like a ton of them, or maybe it was toothpicks, and they applied them to a machine that shifts them back and forth, and it makes it look like a crowd jumping and moving around.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, people do tend to focus so much on the CGI from the prequels, and they don't really realize how much went into that. I mean,
there is bad CGI.
Oh, there's bad,
definitely, really,
and even
bad.
For the time.
Yeah.
Even for the time.
Well,
it was bad.
Episode 1 was probably the furthest ahead of its time, but 2 on is when movies caught up, and it was kind of like, all right, this is outdated. Like,
3, we're talking Jurassic Park era shit going on there. You're like, what are you doing?
Even even episode 3, the volcano shit on Mustafar was real shit. There was that was all practical effect.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't see that kind of thing when the rest of the movie is overwhelming you with CGI. So it's kind of like, all right, well, there's a trade-off there. Like a really cool practical effect drowned in CGI.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Solo had a lot of good effects. I did like the creature in the Maw. It was kind of cool. And that, in whatchamacallit, the Castle Run.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
the big ass like.
It was like the size of a planet. Or
it looked like a Sarlacc that got free. Like it looked crazy, and then like it got its whole shell just like ripped off by the black hole. That was fucking sweet.
Oh my god, there's
I love that so much. It was like the Kraken in space.
Oh, that was pretty. And the design was neat too.
Yeah, I loved it. God, that whole scene was wonderful. I don't think anybody that's seen that movie would say that was a bad moment, because that was just it was so cool.
And that area, like near Kessel, okay, that Maw is the stuff from the Timothy Zahn books, where the Maw installation was, where they developed the Death Star.
Right.
The Maw installation, for those that don't know, is this installation of it's like a mix of different like little structures that are floating in space between a group of black holes. There's really no way to get to it except for a really thin corridor, and you have to be extremely careful getting to it. Otherwise, like literally, like you destroy it.
Right.
So like floating around the Maw installation itself was the prototype Death Star. It was just a skeleton with the super laser core, and that was it.
That's cool.
It was really, really, really cool. So that was a nice tie-in that they used the Maw. I never associated Kessel with the Maw installation or the Maw in general.
But it's like right there, and it makes sense.
I thought that was cool.
I mean, it's surrounded by two black holes, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
No, more than two. There's like 5 or 6. The entire thing with the Maw itself is a collection of like hundreds of black holes, which is why navigating is so difficult.
Yeah.
And that's why I think all the swirling gases and stuff are there, because it's planets and stuff.
Non-stop gravity going crazy.
Yeah.
That's
so it's pretty sweet. I mean, Grand Moff Tarkin knew the Maw installation existed. And, of course, the budget that funded it. And Palpatine, I think, was the only other figure who was actually aware of its existence, except for the people that lived there.
Right.
Which were mainly scientists and stormtroopers, It was pretty cool, actually.
That's, like, man, it was a really good movie, Solo. I think it wasn't great.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for what it is, it's got some really bright, shining moments.
It's got some fun stuff to it. I mean, Emilia Clarke really... shined. I was worried. I hadn't seen her in anything since the Terminator movie, and I know she's a great actress.
I liked her in that movie. I didn't necessarily like the movie.
Yeah,
I feel like she played the role of his mom like well.
Sarah Connor.
Yeah, she played that. She filled the shoes well.
Yeah, no, she does. She's pretty much everything she does. She's good, and I've yet to see her in anything where I'm like, Yeah. I mean, it's not just because she's beautiful, but she's really, really
she's
a good
decent.
actress.
Yeah, she's a really decent actor. I like her.
Yeah, and that made a difference in this movie. I mean, you had a bunch of unknowns, and you had people like Glover, who was like really charismatic.
Yeah,
and that man's got a really good stage presence.
Yeah, it was so funny though when you seen the cast interviews and stuff. They asked him like, you're filling the shoes of Billy D. Williams. Like, how did you prepare for that? He was like, well, I talked to Billy. I went to him and I was like, look, they want me playing you in this movie. I think I can pull it off, but I want your best advice. He was like, well, look, first of all, you'll never be able to beat me.
Yeah, that's so funny. I remember that.
He was like, second of all, just be cool. That's all he told him. He said, just be cool.
Yeah, don't focus on it too much.
Just don't let it be natural. Just be cool. And he was like, all right. So then he just studied how Lando was and how effortless the coolness of 4 through 6 was. Well, 5 and 6, but he just studied how effortless Billy D was, and then he was like, "Well, all right, I guess I'll channel it." Yep. And then I feel like he pulled it off. I mean, he
definitely did.
There was very few moments where I was like, "All right, that's not Billy D."
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's obviously not, but he played the character right.
I think he did a good job. The droid was kind of fun.
It was a different take, but it led into a section of the lore of Star Wars that they don't want to ever touch on. And it's like,
the nav computer on the Falcon, how it speaks a weird language. It's
like, why is this? Where was it from? Was it a Corellian? It's a Corellian cruiser, right?
What, the Falcon?
The Falcon.
The YT-1300 Corellian. Yeah, it's a Corellian freighter.
Yeah, and it's like, why did that one specifically have all this ability when there's clearly better ships in the galaxy? Like, it really just wasn't a reason for it. Like, Lando made it all stylish and stuff, but then, it just felt like a normal ship. There's nothing too crazy about it. And then Han gets behind the wheel, and then the robot dies, and it's like, well, plug her into the computer.
Yeah, because they needed her ability to map the maw.
Yeah.
And to map, she could map things better
She
than
did it
else.
in, like, real time, like, on the spot. It was really, really cool. But it gives explanation for, like, why they can navigate things so well in 4 through 6. Like, just because he has her in the ship. And it's not like her personality bleeds out. It's just a map. So it's fine. There's no cannon destroying there.
That was a cool ship. I like to see it. I liked seeing it all clean.
It looked nice.
And messed up. It was kind of fun.
Seeing the difference between it being like white and blue and sweet, and then like pristine on the inside to like completely tattered and ripped up by the maw. Like it was cool.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure about the death scene of the droid was a little bit much. I thought it was kind of fun.
It was his reaction. Lando's reaction to it was a bit much, but I feel like it would have sucked if it survived. So I rather would have had that. I mean, it just the way they did the human robot romance thing. It was just kind of odd. But it was, it wasn't unforgivable. It was just like, whatever.
I was reading on the Wikipedia that its main computer was made of 3 droid brains. One was cannibalized from a V5 transport droid.
Jesus.
Another from a slicer droid, which was the one Lando had, I think. And the third was that of... the slicer, and then the third was that of L337, which was Lando's droid.
So it was just a bunch of droids piled together.
And she began as an R3 series astromech droid brain, but was overlaid with data architecture from an espionage droid, protocol droid processors, and custom state-of-the-art coding.
Jesus.
So that's why she became so kind of unique.
She had so many different brains going on,
and that's why her head also looked a bit like an astromech droid, because it was...
literally came from that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't realize that. Well, it also explains a lot. They touch into that with the now non-canon books a little bit with the Falcon and what it can do and things like that. There's all sorts of different shit with that damn shit. It's cool as hell. The look of it with that pointed front, I did not like. I'm glad it got blown off.
I liked it for the time. I was glad it got blown off, though. Like I liked that was Lando's touch. He wanted it to be like that.
Yeah.
But seeing it get ripped off was great, too. Like, it was at the same time.
Because that's where the concussion missile launchers are, too, that Han Solo puts in later, which provides a really, really good short-range punch for a ship that size.
Right.
The sensor suit that it has on and all sorts of stuff was also added later. Lando pretty much had it stock, except for, I think, the engines. I don't know. And the look of the ship was spot on. They didn't mess with it at all.
No. Besides that front, it was like, everything about it was pretty spot on. The interior was identical. It was just really bright and imperial looking. Like, a lot of white, a lot of shiny floor. But, you can see that it was that. If you go and watch any of the other movies, like, you can tell that it probably came from that. And it just got dirty over the years. It looks very imperial in design already. But it's really I feel like they did a really good job showing it off though in the movie. Like they show a lot of the Falcon, even down to Lando's like cape closet. Like the dude actually installed a closet for his cloaks and shit. Like
that's pretty sweet.
That's such a Lando.
I would do that if I had all those cloaks. I'd
wear cloaks every day.
I just have a closet for costumes. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I am Iron Man.
I wonder now. on the topic of Star Wars, like you've been reading that whatchamacallit, wow, this is parts we edit out, ladies and gentlemen. We're not keeping this in. We're editing this out. No, the new comic book with the fighter pilot. Wow, I have a horrible memory.
Okay.
Holy shit, kids killed brain cell. How can I not remember who Poe fucking Dameron is? That's horrifying.
Oh, man, I'm dead.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been reading.
Getting old sucks.
Yeah, I've been reading. I've been reading Poe Dameron, and it's been really neat seeing his progression through the comics. It's not the same as like the movies, because it's like the movies they give you about 5 minutes, whereas the comics give you the extra hour that you missed of him. Like they explained what happened in Force Awakens when he crashes with the TIE, and then Finn gets out and he's like, "Oh, Poe," and then the thing sinks into the sand. Like they explained that he got ejected, and he was like over in a dune, like. You know,
they're
like
fucked up.
A couple 100 yards away.
And they give him a bit of the mystique of Han Solo as far as the piloting.
Yeah, and you don't really know if he's got abilities or if he's got some kind of background in the Imperial shit.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, with Han, he was just a naturally gifted pilot. And they because Luke and them, they never came out and said he was touched by the Force. He was at Force sensitive. Maybe really low level or something.
The closest thing we've gotten to that is Episode 8 when Luke's like, "I'll be with you, like if you strike me down, just like your father."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And that could have been taken as like he
Guilt?
just meant you killed me.
Yeah,
it's like your father, or it could have been like your father will be hanging around over your shoulder like guilt, or it could have been like. You know, he's literally a Force ghost watching you every fucking second, and you know it. Like,
but to be a Force ghost, so you have to be taught to do that. That's the thing.
But the thing is, you can die and be taught later. So
I didn't think that was possible because I thought like Yoda was instructed by what's his name?
By Qui-Gon, but Qui-Gon didn't learn how to do it until 2 years after his death.
But I thought he had learned that, or is that non-canon? From the
what? Yeah, the people before him was non-canon. They Clone Wars confirmed it that Qui-Gon is the first ever.
But who went to the planet of the Force in the center of the galaxy or whatever? Was that Yoda? Qui-Gon had been there first, I thought.
Well, what happened was, there's a couple places like that in Clone Wars. It's kind of funky.
Yeah.
Because Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka all went to Mortis, which is like a massive, like, it's like an anomaly, like a planet that shouldn't exist, but it's more shaped like a diamond. It's really weird, and you just enter it, and it has the Force family within it, which is literally a father of the Force, the daughter, and the brother. The daughter represents the light, the brother represents the dark, and like the father is just the Force as a person. It's fucking crazy, and during that arc of Clone Wars, the father dies, and it's just left up to the brother and the sister. Huh. And then the sister ends up getting sick and dying or some shit, or maybe she got killed. I forget.
The mother was when they became the ALOT, right? Where she was like,
I think so,
insane and just absolutely crazy.
I think so.
And they sealed her in the maw somewhere, I thought.
Well, they explain with the family that like the brother surviving is just heavy foreshadowing that the dark is coming, and like Obi-Wan has a vision of Vader, he has a vision of Anakin killing people, and he has like all these crazy like views or like just premonitions of like what the coming Order 66 shit is. Yeah. And he's like, this is all bullshit, I'm just being showed this because I'm in a Force heavy area. But like at the same time, Yoda's off on his own quest, and he goes to the Sith homeworld, he goes to the Jedi homeworld, he goes like fucking everywhere that's important to the Force. Like he went there. He went and saw the spirit of Darth Bane and talked to him and shit. And he was like he went to Dagobah for the first time, and that's when he met Qui-Gon's ghost, and then he met Dark Yoda, which was like the first time he went through the tree. Oh,
that's right. And because in the old Timothy Zahn books, they described that as the tree in the tunnel as being like there was a crashed ship from like 40,000 years earlier, or something like that, from the ancient Republic era, and a Dark Jedi had died there, and that's why it was like that.
And they've rewritten that like several different ways, but it's along the same line. It's not like they haven't explained it in a way where it's like a person caused this. It's more like the Force wills it so. It's vague so that they can explain stories later.
I like that thing.
I like
the
it,
ship, the crashed ship thing.
I
thought
like
it was
it
kind of
because
fun.
it adds different mystical shit
yeah.
to it. It's really cool.
Yeah, they touch on that here and there. I mean, like Solo. I mean, there's some parts of Solo, like, they kind of, there's obviously, like space stations. There's places on the planet that have been there for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And the thing with the Star Wars universe is that a lot of people forget is that, like, the old Republic era is just like, it stretches back for like 10,000 years.
Yeah. And it was like that for a long time.
So they've had space travel for 10,000 years. I mean, that's like...
They haven't really upgraded anything either in fucking 10,000 years. There's still a bunch of people running around with laser swords and laser guns. And like, that's just it. Because the technology doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. They reached their peak,
Yeah. Like, there's very little things advancing at a time, and most of them are weapons. Like, some ships are advancing or whatever, but like most
of the R&D seems to be in droid development, artificial intelligence,
and then it got into like the super
ships.
weapons, like the Death Star, like the second Death Star, the Star Base or Star Killer Base, the Dreadnought, like. The Star Destroyers as a whole were just massive R&D projects starting in the Republic era, before the Imperial era.
The Eclipse class Star Destroyers and all that kind of stuff.
Eclipse,
I like it.
The Eclipse class are awesome. But yeah, it was just neat seeing so many things that...
Yeah, Solo threw a bunch of really neat mixes
a lot of old rereferences that people don't really understand unless they pay attention to all of it.
The technology, the aliens, like
the
leader of the rebel, she was that adorable girl with the freckles and the kinky hair, whatever. She was beautiful.
I forget her name.
Loved it though.
Her outfit was fucking sweet.
Oh, it was awesome.
And the mask she wore was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there was there was really nothing about that movie I did not like. It just, for some reason, it didn't quite capture.
It didn't do what Rogue One did.
Part of this thing is, and Mike and I have talked about this before, I think it's that, Star Wars movies used to come out every 2 years or so, maybe 3 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was, and it was like a big, real special thing, when it came out.
Yeah, the episodes, it was always a 2-year gap every time.
And now we're getting like sometimes 2 a year. And I think it's just that we're getting saturated with it, so we're expecting way more.
We got Last Jedi and Solo within 7 months.
Yeah,
and what's that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, and it's fine in a way. I mean, it just.
I'm glad it happened.
Solo could have almost been a Netflix series that went on for 12 episodes, sort of thing.
I would have loved it.
Yeah, and that's the thing with I think Disney's going to do, hopefully, with their streaming services.
Oh, they got they just confirmed. Speaking of. Jon Favreau's got his show coming, and it's set in the time just after... Well, it's like set in the Resistance beginning days, but it's going to have the funding equal to Game of Thrones funding. So this show is going to be like over-the-top incredible as far as production goes.
That's going to be fun.
And it's Jon Favreau writing it. This dude fucking wrote Iron Man.
He's great. No, he's funny,
and he's an ultimate nerd. He loves Star Wars. He would never try to tarnish it. And at the same time, they got Clone Wars Season 7 coming back. They got a Resistance cartoon coming. So they're going to have both of those probably running at the same time on their streaming service. That's fucking cool. Crazy. God, Star Wars got so much shit going on. It's insane.
And Star Wars has the potential now to do what Star Trek did, which is have multiple series out at the same time, start doing a TV series. I don't think a television series of Star Wars would work necessarily.
I don't think it would work on TV.
Yeah, on Netflix or something would be fine.
Great.
But like Game of Thrones, with HBO, so they do like one a month or some shit.
Something it seems like
But I don't know, man.
And they're very limited.
Yeah, there are. Well, that's the thing. Well,
shows go.
And this is the thing. The more movies that come out, the more they can expand upon the the shit. They could go back to the Old Republic era and do shit, and like
I'm so hoping for a Revan or a Nihilus movie. Or
the problem with stuff like that, though, is there's specific people like us that know who they are.
Yeah,
you can't go and throw a Darth Revan movie out there or TV show out there and expect everybody to understand who the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I feel like they would have to do it in a Knights of the Old Republic way, where even he doesn't know who he is, and then it gets revealed at the end, and then they do another movie with him being a fucking Sith beast. Because Knights of the Old Republic was like, it was one of the biggest twists in gaming in that decade. Like, it was just, you play through this whole game thinking you're the good guy because you got guided by a blind, like, ex-Jedi chick. And then you come to the end and you're told that you're fucking the bad guy that you've been hunting this whole time. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, I just put like 120 hours into this just to find out I'm the bad guy.
It's pretty fucking funny.
Like, there's so many things they can do. And because those characters are in games where there's heavy choice option, you don't have to have the set story because there isn't a set story besides the main events.
It's true.
So all that shit in between, you can do whatever you want as long as it tic-tacs between them points and finishes just at the same spot.
That's very true.
It'd be fucking awesome. And Nihilus, like, he was the shit. He was like, he literally was using the dark side to like suck the soul out of planets and shit. Like, he was literally like sucking the life out of people with the Force. Like, he was that dark. And I think it actually came to a point where he literally sucked an entire planet's worth of life from orbit. Like, he just like focused all that negative ass energy and just killed the planet. It's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
And it would be nuts to see in a movie. But
I don't know. I liked it. I thought Solo was pretty freaking funny in certain ways too. The comedy was okay, was spot on. The ending, I think, is the only thing I really had a huge problem with. I thought they could have. It was written interesting. I thought they could have done a little bit more with. I don't know.
The one thing I feel like lacked was
the ending was kind of like
concrete ending.
Yeah, instead of explosive ending, it was just like
It needed to be more concrete for Kira. Because it was just kind of like she sends him off and she's planning on becoming the leader of this gangster organization. But is she? Like, she just kind of takes the ship and leaves.
They're not going to make another movie.
They're not going to go back and touch on that.
They're not. No, and that's because it performed so poorly at the box office. And the sad part is, I don't think it really performed poorly for Star Wars
because of the movie.
I think Star Wars fans went to see it. I think people that were not Star Wars fans did not go to see it.
And you know why? Because it came out in the same month as Infinity War, the third biggest movie of all fucking time, and then Deadpool 2. And it's like, these people just spent $30-$40 in the theater to go see Infinity War.
Yeah.
They saw it 2-3 times.
Yep.
And then they went and seen Deadpool 2 like a week or two later. And then you got Solo coming right after that. The momentum was gone by the time it hit Solo. So it's like, people are already burned out of their wallets going to see all these.
They should have pushed it back a little bit more. I mean, look at right now.
And knowing it's Disney, like, it doesn't make sense that they did that. It was almost like they wanted it to do just, like, it didn't do great at all. Like, it actually had Disney rethinking what to do with Star Wars for the next couple years, which is kind of concerning because it wasn't a bad movie.
No, and the thing is like, if you look at right now, what's in theaters? Jack shit. Nothing's going on for the next year.
Man.
Slugger Man. And for like the next year, right? We have nothing.
We have nothing until Aquaman, I think.
If they had simply waited like 4 months and then put it out.
They could have put it out this month and fucking banked.
It would have been humongous.
Absolutely, because nothing else is out. Ant-Man and the Wasp was the last big movie, and we don't have another one for like another 2 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then fucking Marvel doesn't have another movie until Captain Marvel, and that's not until fucking February. So, like, that's another 5 months away. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy. The Solo movie in general, I think, was a success. I liked it. I liked the look of it. I had some reservations about it. I didn't like the ending. I like the actors. I like the actor they had play Han was fine. He was unknown. He was fine. I thought it was good they did an unknown practically unknown. He's probably
if they scanned Harrison, I would have been upset.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Harrison probably has been scanned for that kind of shit just in case.
Yeah.
But if they would have did that for the whole fucking movie, I would have been like, really?
Yeah, you can't do that. It's just not quite the tech is close.
Because I liked Tarkin. You know,
that was cool.
In Rogue One, it was a really decent effect,
and it was just enough.
It was just enough. I even liked the 3 seconds of the Leia that didn't look 100% accurate. I didn't even need it to be 100% accurate.
No.
I just needed that moment of knowing she has the Death Star plans. Like, that was perfect.
You know what they need to do while she still looks like her before she really hits. Well, she's hit puberty, but before she gets older and her facial structure and shit changes. Mm-hmm. They need to have Millie Bobby Brown play a young Princess Leia in something, because that little girl,
Alderaan,
she looks just like her. I mean, she looks really, really, really close to Carrie Fisher.
Well,
even more so than Carrie's own daughter does, and her daughter was in those Star Wars movies.
Bail was still alive all the way up until the point that Alderaan gets exploded.
Yeah,
and that actor is always down for Star Wars. He showed up in Rogue One. He's always down for Star Wars.
Jimmy Schmitz.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Jimmy Schmitz.
Yeah.
He's good. He was an NYPD Blue for a very long time.
Really good actor.
He's all I really remember of that show is that guy and the fat guy's crater-covered ass. That's I remember I was a little younger, but I remember I'd watch episodes here and there and I'd be like, yeah, it's Jimmy Schmitz. That's kind of cool.
Oh my god.
I know. But look it up, kids.
Look it up.
Look it up.
Look at all that delicious ass.
Oh, it's horrifying. It was the first time on national. They made a big deal of it as national TV. It was like the first time they said fuck on TV. They were like, oh.
Oh my god.
The horror. But yeah.
I think overall, because it was just placed at the wrong time, it was a financial failure to Disney. But it was for what it is, it was a good movie. It was a solid movie. It was a summer movie. I mean, what do you really expect?
It's not like it was, the recent Jurassic Park.
No, it wasn't a flop.
That was terrible.
Painful.
I watched, Kelly and I watched that, my wife and I watched that.
It had one or two scenes that were oh, cool effects. And then everything else was why are we doing this again?
Although I will say, the little girl that played in that movie was hilarious. Again, as a father of two kids, I'm always just Steven Sealer.
Stealing the show.
Stealing the show. She was horrible. I think that Star Wars movies like Solo have potential. I think they just should have done it a little bit different.
I don't think
I think they should. If they released it a different time, it would have been better. I still would have gone to see it.
If it were a standalone movie that were released on its own through Netflix or something like that, it would have been fine. I just feel like because they pushed it for a commercial release and then it had all this development troubles because the Lego movie bros fucked it up. And then Ron Howard had to pick up the pieces and make it good again. Mm-hmm. I feel like all that development shit, they should have pushed it back further, first off.
Anytime you mix directors like that, you have issues.
Yeah.
What else do we see happen with that?
Justice League.
That's
because
what it was.
Joss fucked it up by turning it into Avengers 2, and everybody fucking hated Avengers 2 after the fact. So, I mean, I love the movie, but it's like Joss took all the bad parts and just threw it into Justice League. Mm-hmm. And was like, yeah, I did this in Avengers and it worked. No, that's not how this works. It's supposed to be different from Marvel. You make it unique so people like it. Instead we got all of the same tropes that Joss is famous for.
Yep.
Shitty catchphrases, bad humor, and fucking cliche action scenes that just kind of suck. I mean, the heroes turning on each other, the fucking the mustache scene. God damn it.
That's so bad.
That's all Joss's fault because they didn't reshoot until he got in the position.
They should have had him have a beard. We're going off on tangents here, but man, they should have had fucking Superman with a beard would have been cool. I'm waiting to see that. As an old guy with black and gray hair, I have to say I want to see Superman with black hair.
I want to see him with a beard.
It was fun.
Well, they shot it with a beard at one point because he had the black suit at one point and he was wearing it. They have set photos of Superman with long hair and a beard, and he's got the fucking black suit on for when he goes evil for a second.
That would have been sweet.
And it would have been fucking awesome.
That black suit's in the modern comic, that Superman Rebirth, that last episode you and I covered.
It was in a fucking deleted scene of Justice League. They had it floating, and he never put it on.
It's stupid.
It's kind of dumb. But what can you do? Joss fucked it up. Zach lost some family, so he couldn't finish it out.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Feel bad for Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they it's funny, a lot of the movies we've seen recently that
small fuck ups like that.
Yeah, have kind of ruined it. Yeah. And it's not just because we're nitpicky nerds, it's just that
you watch it happen.
Like Mike and I enjoy movies from a variety of genres. Yeah. I like except for romance movies. Don't go.
No.
Oh, I throw up my heart.
No. I can't do it.
Which makes me sick. Kelly made me watch The Notebook, and I was like, oh, why?
No.
Why?
Tell me what you want.
Oh my God, it was so bad. But, I like, even like spaghetti westerns. I like old movies, new movies.
All of it.
Really bad sci-fi movies and stuff. Mystery Science 3000 is hilarious.
It's incredible.
Because of, the bad movies, Manos in the Hands of Fate Manos the Hands of Fate is just like one of the worst movies of all time. Garbage. But it's fun to watch because it's such garbage. So, I don't mind if a movie has cliches in it once in a while. I don't mind if movies have a few bad spurts. I do mind it when the movies are a gigantic cliche.
Yeah. The entire movie becomes a cliche.
And if it's like horror movies where there's a murderer or a monster or something. Kelly, my wife, will not watch mystery movies with me because I figure it out within the first 10 minutes usually. I go, yeah, he did it. She's like, God damn it!
And then an hour and a half later, sure as shit.
Yeah. She goes, you son of a bitch. I'm like, I know. It's a gift.
It's a gift.
It is. I don't know why. I think it's because I know a lot of writers. Right. And I think it's because I'm so old at this point. I'm so old. I'm 41. I'm not that old. But I've seen so much shit that I can look at a movie and I can see where the writer went with it.
Right.
And where the logical next step would be. And I just figure it out.
After years of experience with horror movies, you watch Scream for the first time and you're like, it's the stupid boyfriend.
It's exactly.
It's the stupid boyfriend. Yeah. And then it gets to the end, it's like, yeah, fucking called it. And that guy's gonna die, and that guy's gonna die.
But that guy's not really dead because you didn't see him die. It's
right. It's gonna be all cliche. But
it's pretty bad. But yes, that's our solo review as it was. I mean, it's funny because we've talked about it a few times here and there, but we really wanted to
dive
into it and give our thoughts on the whole thing. Yeah, it was just like, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was adequate. I'd
give it probably a solid 6 or a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, me too. It was a solid Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
It had really good actors in it. It had really fun special effects.
It had some really cool moments too.
Except the Wookiee that looked like she was from Planet of the Apes was fucked up.
That was a dude? I was upset when I found that out.
It was a male Wookiee. Yeah.
It was a male Wookiee that was just really fucking old.
It literally looked like freaking somebody had taken Ron Howard's brother and put hair all over him in a Wookiee. I'm just saying, the forehead was huge, the face made no sense.
It did. Man, I was so disappointed because it wasn't Mala. It was just some random fucking Wookiee that was being tortured.
It was bad.
I mean, he was getting fucked up. Seeing Chewie whoop them dude's ass was awesome though.
It was pretty sweet.
Watching him slam the dude and just all that. When he cattle prodded the one dude and then he's just like, fuck that cattle prod. Hands it to the other Wookiee and just beats the shit out of him.
It was so funny.
I was kind of hoping he was going to rip somebody's leg off and beat him with it or something, but
it was hilarious. They would have been a hard R right there. Instantly hard R rating. Oh my God. It says some other movie news that we could touch on real quick actually while we're recording is the fact that Chris Pine and also
the guy that
plays Thor have both walked away from the Star Trek movie. They're not doing it. So that series is done.
Pine, it's in the universe. It's just not going to center around the Enterprise.
No. I mean, they're not. He's not going to play Captain Kirk.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so there's going to be no Kirk in this next movie, and there's not going to be Chris Hemsworth's not playing Kirk's dad in the next movie. They looked at the script. They were like, Oh, fuck no.
Well,
And they walked away
This
from
is the Quentin Tarantino one.
Yeah.
They're doing it like the brutal movie shit. Like, people getting stabbed and shit and fucking blood everywhere. Like, they're doing it like the darkest moments from all of the movies.
I don't think it's going to work.
I think it's going to be hilarious.
Well, I think it'll be funny.
And I feel like a lot of...
Is it going to be a Star Trek film?
Oh, yeah.
I don't really know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying in general, like...
I know Quentin, with movies, he's very... He studies what he's going to do before he does it. Like, Kill Bill was the first one was an ode to, Japanese, like, everything.
Everything, yeah.
Like, anything, like, to do with the samurai culture, the Shaolin shit, like, anything to do with Japanese culture, he just, like, dove in for that. Kung Fu movies, especially. And same thing with the part 2, but the part 2 is more Western in nature. And then he did like 3 Western movies back to back to back. And he hasn't really flopped since Grindhouse, which was, to be honest, it was just, he wanted a reason to team up with Robert Rodriguez again, and it was ridiculous. There was the nasty ass scene where he got infected by the zombie shit, and like his balls like grew to the size of a damn grapefruit and then exploded. It was fucking disgusting. But that movie was his last flop, and that was like 7 years ago or some shit. So I don't know. I feel like he's the kind of dude that would take care of it. It's not gonna be what we know as Star Trek, but it's gonna be R-rated, and it's gonna be fucking off the walls. So I mean, I'd probably expect, like, take the most crazy moments from Star Trek of all time and just put them in a mashup, and that's probably what this is going to be with light story in the middle. It's going to be a lot of action and blood and guts and war.
I don't know. Star Trek was never really... Even the darkest parts of DS9 were more intellectual torture than anything. Like where Miles O'Brien had to spend 20 years in a prison.
I've seen some dark shit, though.
But it was just in his mind.
I don't even watch Star Trek, and the few bits I've seen, there's moments where it's like, holy shit, did that just happen? Like, this dude just got fucking gutted. Like...
What?
Yeah, like, in some of the movies, I've seen just brief glimpses of moments where, like, Klingons got fucked up, and it's like, damn, they did that. Like, it's fucked up. But I'm just trying to think in my head, like, how is Tarantino gonna pull it off when he's used to, like, somebody gets hit by something and their fucking head flies off or some shit. Like, it's always too much over the top with him, and I have trouble seeing it. So until I see a trailer, I'm not gonna have anything really meaningful to dive in about, because he's too much. I love every movie he's done, but it's just he's so over the top. He's in my favorite director list.
I do think he's gonna be. It's gonna be interesting to see. I'm definitely gonna fucking see.
Oh, it's gonna be funny.
It's gonna be freaking hilarious. And you've got, like, they've made some really weird choices in the Star Trek world recently too. You've got the guy they picked to play Spock on Discovery.
Yeah,
he looks vaguely Vulcan-esque, but nothing like really Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, he does. Well, I mean, what are you gonna do? Rip Leonard Nimoy? I mean.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you could pay what's his name, Zach, or what's his name?
Oh, they're not gonna bring Quinto in there because
pay him tons of money.
They're not gonna do.
Do you know Michael Dorn? They wanted Michael Dorn to be on Discovery.
Who's Michael Dorn?
Worf. You're dead to me, by the way. I'm gonna bury you where no one can find you. They offered Michael Dorn a shot at Discovery. He says, "Yeah, okay. I want the exact same fucking amount of money I got when I was on Star Trek Nemesis, the movie."
Oh,
and they were like,
"That's a lot of money."
No, he's like, "I'm Michael fucking Dorn. Who do you think I am?"
Jesus,
that's awesome.
That's crazy. That's a lot of money, though. Movie money for a TV show.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, like, how much did he get paid? A couple $100,000? Maybe.
Yeah, you don't really know.
It's hard to say.
But I feel like if they did Zachary Quinto, people would have been pissed because their whole poll for the show was that it's not JJ verse. That was like the biggest thing they wanted to get clear, was that no, we know people don't like the new JJ shit, so we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna have Chris Pine show up. We're not gonna have Chris Pine's dad ever be a real thing. Did they ever have his dad in the movie? They didn't have.
What?
They didn't have Papa Kurt and JJ Verse. I don't think so.
Yeah, well, his dad died in the very first movie, remember?
Did they show him?
Oh, yeah, that was him that got blown out the front of the... You never saw the movie, did you?
I did. I just don't remember.
He was the one who he saved his son's life by ramming his ship into another ship. He was like, I love you so much.
No, it's been too long since I've watched the first one because I just didn't like it. I mean, I thought it was okay in parts, but I just didn't like it. The second one I felt was a bit better because Benedict Cumberbatch was not bad, but it was like, I don't know. None of it really hit like and stuck with me. It was just kind of like I felt like it was just something to glance at, and that was it. So Zachary Quinto would have been a big mistake.
Is it? I don't know.
Because JJ Verse just gets too much hate for that to work, and
That's true.
and then people would be confused because people are dumb.
People are dumb.
People would be like, so is this? Is this? They're like, no. But
People be stupid, yo.
people hella dumb.
You know. Yeah, they... I
It's
don't
just,
know what they're going to do with that series. I watched it, and I was just like...
well, I like what they're trying to do as far as bringing like the Enterprise into it, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last.
Well, they can't, because the thing is, it's not...
There's a timeline issue where it can't be like the Enterprise is just hanging out with the Discovery for a decade.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. You know,
It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, the timeline pre-Kirk era is pretty loose, except that, you know, that Captain Pike was there,
Yeah.
and he did a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And that, you know, but they never really focus on what he did. Nothing canon, anyway. Nothing on film. So, you know, you've got
Now
a lot of
there is
options.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. Like, they fucked up the design of the Enterprise they brought in. I realize it's not going to be like 1960s, but as I said this before, you know, they should have fucking left it alone. They should have left it gunmetal gray.
I gotta wonder though, like if they weren't given access to that kind of shit though. Like, I mean, because I know you can digitally recreate shit and whatnot, but there's always going to be flaws if you don't have the exact model.
Oh, they've got this stuff. You could go out right now and buy a fucking Ertl toy kit based on the original 1960s design and slap it together and take a picture and look exactly like the 1960s one. Because they haven't changed anything like that. Yeah. Those model kits are identical. I mean, and they have complete scans of all the original ones before they sold them at Sotheby's at that thing. So, I mean, they know. The thing is, somebody was like, we're going to update it
might look
a little
cooler
bit.
if we do this.
It'd be cooler if we do this. And that person should have been dragged in the street and had his balls chopped off and shoved in his mouth. And then they should have lit him on.
Well, you know, it was probably that guy's choice.
Then they should have lit him on fire.
And then somebody comes in and they're like, close enough.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, all right, cool. And then they did that.
It's done. I don't like it. You know, I am excited to hear that Patrick Stewart's getting his own series.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Oh, I got
Man
a
Picard.
huge, turgid nerd boner from that.
Super veiny.
Whoa!
Pulsating.
I was like, no one talked to me for about 45 minutes.
I'm going to go in the corner.
I'm going in the corner.
Don't look at me.
I put on my ballads.
Oh my God.
Stared off into space, and I was like, take me away. No, it's going to be cool. I can't wait to see it.
I love Patrick Stewart, man. I had
emailed the M-Class podcast guys about that. It was like, you know, what do you guys think about it? And I was like, are you happy like I am? You know, excited to see Patrick Stewart don the uniform again and be Captain Picard? And are you also worried like I am that it's going to taint the legacy of Picard and have bad writing, and it's just going to ruin it? And they were like, Josh Henderson's like, well, I wasn't worried until now. They didn't think about that, because a lot of people haven't thought about that. They're so excited to think about Picard and Patrick Stewart that they're not thinking, what if they're writing shit?
I feel like people are going to be too happy that it's him in the first place, and even if the writing's bad, they're like, fucking Patrick Stewart is back.
I mean, he's the actor.
People will stick through it for Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah, no matter what. I mean, he's the actor's actor, you know.
He's the man. He's a sir.
I can't freaking wait, honestly, to see what happens. You know, like
it's interesting that they're going back to him. Of all the stories they could do, they're taking old man Picard and just saying this is what he's doing now as an old man.
It's going to be kind of fun. It's going to be interesting to see what they actually develop for him character-wise. Like nothing's like in stone yet as far as what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to have like maybe they're going to commandeer a ship and go off with some goose chase. Are they going to bring John Delancey back and have Q involved? Are they going to have guest spots by other, you know, TNG actors and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because at this point, Riker would have been captain of the Odyssey or of the Titan for at least 20 years. You know, so we're looking at possibly having Admiral Riker.
Mm.
You know, at that point. Did he and Troy have kids? You know, things like lots of fun stuff. You know,
20 years is a long time. Like, dude could have died in a horrible accident.
No, you're not gonna. Are you kidding me? It's Frakes. It's fucking Jonathan Frakes. They would never do that. Frakes is gonna be directing half some of these episodes. He's directed a few episodes of Discovery already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good director.
That's cool.
That's
neat that they're kind of passing along.
Oh no, he directed a bunch. LeVar Burton directed a bunch of episodes. He's the one that played Geordi, the visor. You know, from Reading Rainbow and Roots and stuff. He's a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Dorn, I think, directed. They've all taken turns at the helm. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all pretty cool as far as actors go. I think every single one of them. The only one who might not want to do it would be Brent Spiner, because he says he doesn't want to play Data anymore because he's aged out of the role. But now with CGI the way it is, they can probably just have him.
They
look
can pull
the same.
some Blade Runner shit on his ass.
No, this is what they'll do. I'm pretty sure, because at this point, I mean, the man wants a paycheck.
Yeah.
But you know, he hasn't acted in anything really since then.
Yeah.
Except to play Brent Spiner. You know.
Well, he's a cool dude too.
I like him a lot. I've met him a couple times at conventions. Not like more than like, "Hey, how you doing? You're awesome."
Right.
You know, it's about it. It's like the
he's a cordial dude.
Like Mickey from the Monkees. I'm just like, "Hey, Mick." You say, "Hey," and he's like, "It's about like the extent of our conversations."
What's up? How's it going?
Doing shots, Mick? Yeah, okay. You know, it's
sounds fun.
That's all I like about it. That's my encounters with celebrities. Like I've had a lot, but you know, working the conventions with my wife and visiting, whatever, selling stuff there. But they all generally involve, hey, what's going on? That's like about it. Even the guy who plays Aquaman, I've met him twice, and both times I was just like, hey, the longest conversation I had with that man was like after it was like Sunday morning, and then when the con was open, the pre-party the night before on Saturday night had been kind of nuts. And I walked past him and I was like, hey, Jason, you survived the night, huh? That's good. He goes, oh. And he just kept walking. And, and I was like, that's fun. And I don't get flustered around people like that. I would probably get a little flustered around Patrick Stewart just because he's so awesome. And I've met Stan Lee twice in passing. Just before the convention's open, he would walk the floors. So I've met him twice.
Yeah.
It's Patrick Stewart. It's like, he's awesome.
I mean, there's very few people I'd ever get starstruck for. He's probably one of them. He's a fucking sir. Mm-hmm. Like, he was knighted. Mm-hmm. This man has done so much for film and just for everything about our movie culture in general. This man is fucking Professor X, too. Like, this man is fucking everything I love about the X-Men.
So I'm excited to see the Patrick Stewart Star Trek thing that's going to come out again.
I'd be interested. That might actually be something to get me into Trek in a major way.
You should watch some of the old movies. They're fun. I mean, Star Trek 2 is pretty cool. There's a lot of action in that movie for a Star Trek movie, But there's a lot of fun stuff. The original Trek series is really campy, but there are some fun scenes in it. And there's like I had talked about this recently with somebody about how like the uniforms and that original series and the clothing, some of it's fucking phosphorescent. It's so 60s and like bright and flashy. It's so weird. Like no human being would ever wear like a phosphorescent blue shirt with colored triangles all over and say it's a dress uniform. It's insane. It's like somebody would like lost their mind and was on drugs.
The day will probably come where my girlfriend makes me sit down with her and watch all of it.
I can't believe Carla hasn't had you watch it yet.
Because we have too much stuff that she hasn't seen, so I've been hammering that through so that way we can get to the stuff that I haven't seen.
No, for God's sake.
Because she didn't see Pulp Fiction until I met her. I was like, what?
That's a shame. She's Canadian.
Because she's a pirate.
She's a Canadian pirate.
She's a pirate. It makes sense.
What is she? She's like Puerto Rican.
Portuguese pirate.
She's Portuguese, and as everybody knows, ladies and gentlemen,
They're pirates.
anybody that's Portuguese is a pirate.
Yep.
It's a rule. They're pretty much born, and they're in the crib. They're a hook is grafted to their hand.
They have two hobbies: hunting the booty and marking X's on maps.
That's right. That's what they do. Carlos got a stack of them.
She's got a big ass stack of.
She's gonna kick her ass if she hears this. She's gonna be like, "You mother!"
How fucking?
I'm gonna tell my mom, and she's gonna cut you with her pirate sword.
She will. She's got a.
That's so bad.
Oh man, she's got a rapier. She's
got a rapier. I know what you meant. It just sounds bad.
A rapier.
She's got a rapier. It's a whole year. She's rapes.
A rape beard.
She's got a rapier.
That's terrible.
God, it is late and we're slap happy.
Oh well.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. I think next time we record, I want to try something different. I want to have Mike watch an anime. I want to have
Which
Mike.
one?
Trigun.
Oh,
you ever watched Trigun? Trigun's very fun. It's very funny. It's very bloody. It's really fucking weird, and it's like it's one of the animes you gotta watch. Almost like Fist of the North Star.
Oh yeah,
where like the guy punches the guy 20 times, his head just goes it explodes. Like he can touch you in a spot. It's so funny. He does this thing. Oh my god, it's so bad. But no, you should watch Trigun, and we should.
We should do that.
We always say that. Sometimes at the end of these episodes, we go, "Next time we're going to do this," and then like 2 weeks go by, and we fucking forget what we said, and we go, "Oh yeah, did we cover that?" It's like the solo. Mike and I sat at dinner. We were like, "We covered solo."
We spent like 10 minutes talking about it.
Did we?
Did we?
I don't think we did. And we had to go back over our previous episodes and then listen here and there. I was like, "No, we did not." They're all on SoundCloud now, ladies and gentlemen. We have our SoundCloud. You can download them off SoundCloud, stream them off SoundCloud. We're on Twitter at DFAMPodcast. And, of course, we're on Instagram, which lately I've been posting stuff with old Nintendo Power issues and screenshots. Cause it's
fun stuff.
It's kind of fun. I found my old Nintendo Power collection. Yeah. But, hit us up. Throw us an email. Bitch at us.
What you gotta
just
do.
no dick pics, please. I don't like that.
Forward them to me.
That's inappropriate. I'm telling your dad, he's gonna beat your ass. You're never gonna see the light of day, and he's gonna lock you in the basement.
Oh my god.
All right, guys, have a good time. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.